Welcome to Jerusalem today. This city is very old and very special. People from around the world know this place. It is important to three big religions: Jews, Muslims, and Christians. They all love this city. They all want peace here. But there is also pain and problems. Jerusalem is a city of hope and also fear. Some streets are full of joy. Other streets are full of sadness. People live close but feel far away. Walls and borders are everywhere. Still, some hearts stay open. You will see many kinds of people here. Different clothes, different food, different prayers, but all want a good life. All want safety for their families. They work, they study, they dream. In this video, we will take you on a journey. You will learn about the beauty and the struggle. You will see how people live every day. You will feel the heart of the city. Some parts will make you smile. Some parts may make you cry. But this is the real Jerusalem. Full of love, full of pain, full of life. Come with us and see the city like never before. Jerusalem is one of the oldest cities in the world. It is more than just a place. It is a feeling, a symbol, a dream. For thousands of years, people have walked its narrow streets, prayed at its holy sites, and fought for its control. Today, Jerusalem is still full of life, full of history, and full of meaning, but it is also full of conflict. It is a city where peace and pain live side by side. A city where unity and division walk the same roads. People from three great religions call Jerusalem holy. Jews come to pray at the Western Wall. Muslims worship at the Al-Aqsa Mosque. Christians visit the Church of the Holy Sepulchre. These places are all very close to each other. They sit just minutes apart, yet the people who visit them often live in different worlds, different languages, different traditions, and different views of the city. They love the same place but in different ways. Walk through the Old City, and you will see this clearly. The Old City has four parts: Jewish quarter, Muslim quarter, Christian quarter, and Armenian quarter. The walls of the Old City do not just hold history, they also hold emotion. In one corner, a child laughs while playing. In another, a family cries over memories. The streets are full of life, but they are also full of stories that speak of deep pain, deep love, and deep hope. Jerusalem is both united and divided. It is the capital of Israel, but Palestinians also dream of it as their capital. One city, two peoples, two stories. East Jerusalem is mostly Palestinian. West Jerusalem is mostly Jewish. There are checkpoints, police, and fences. Yet, people from both sides go to work, go to school, and try to live normal lives. Some days are quiet, some days are not. But every day, the people of this city carry the weight of its past and the hope for a better future. This city is full of paradox. A place where people who fear each other still meet in markets and hospitals. A place where a soldier and a student might sit near each other on a bus, each lost in thought. A place where faith brings people closer to God but sometimes further from each other. It is not simple. It is not easy. But it is real. And it is powerful. Tourists come here and feel the magic. The sound of church bells in the morning. The call to prayer echoing across the hills. The soft rustle of paper notes in the cracks of the Western Wall. The golden shine of the Dome of the Rock at sunset. It all feels like a dream, but behind the dream there is another layer. One with fear, questions, and stories that are hard to tell. For many people, Jerusalem is home. Their grandparents lived here. Their great-grandparents prayed here. They know every stone, every street, every story. But home does not always feel peaceful. Some children grow up hearing two languages at once, Hebrew and Arabic. Some grow up learning to be careful, to be quiet, to stay safe. Some grow up hearing about war and waiting for peace. Yet, even in the middle of conflict, there is connection. Some Jews and Arabs work together in the same offices. Some study in the same universities. Some join hands to help the poor, to care for the sick, to speak for peace. These stories do not always make the news, but they are part of Jerusalem too. The city is not just holy. It is also human. It is not just old. It is also young. New buildings rise near ancient stones. Fast trains run past quiet cemeteries. Kids play football near ancient gates. Life does not stop here. It keeps going, even when it is hard, even when it hurts. Jerusalem is not perfect. Far from it. It is full of questions, full of challenges. But it is also full of light. In the morning, when the sun rises over the Mount of Olives, the city glows. It shines with the power of history, the strength of faith and the hope of peace. That hope lives in the hearts of many. It is weak some days, strong on others, but it is still there. People around the world watch Jerusalem. They pray for it, talk about it, and argue over it. But those who live here know the truth. This city is not just a symbol, it is a real place with real people. People who wake up each day, open their windows and breathe in the same air. People who drink the same water, walk the same earth, and want the same things: safety, love, and a better life for their children. To understand Jerusalem, you must listen, not just to the leaders or the news, but to the people in the streets, the shopkeeper in the market, the mother waiting at the bus stop, the teacher walking to school. Their voices are quiet but deep. They tell the real story of this city. This is why we begin with Jerusalem as a city of paradox, because it is both simple and complex, beautiful and broken, united and divided. It is not a puzzle to solve. It is a place to understand, a place to feel, a place to respect. In this series, we will walk through its streets, speak to its people, and explore its past and present. We will look at the walls that divide and the bridges that connect. We will try to see not only the pain but also the possibility. We will try to understand how this city survives and still shines. This is the beginning of a journey through the heart of a city that means so much to so many. A city that teaches us how close love and hate can be, how near peace and conflict live, how deep roots and high hopes can grow together. Come with us as we begin. Let us discover Jerusalem, not just the city of God, but the city of people, not just the city of the past, but also the city of the future, a city that can break your heart and still make you believe, a city like no other in the world, a city of paradox. Jerusalem is a city where faith lives in every corner. It is a city where people pray every day in every hour. For Jews, Muslims, and Christians, this city is more than land. It is a home for the soul. It is a place of connection with God. It is a place where the earth feels close to heaven. But this great beauty also brings great tension. So many people love this city deeply, and sometimes that love becomes a reason for pain. For Jewish people, Jerusalem is the holiest city. It has been their spiritual center for thousands of years. The Western Wall is the most sacred place in Judaism. It is a part of the ancient temple that once stood in the heart of the city. Every day, Jewish men and women come here. They place their hands on the stones. They pray, cry, and whisper to God. Many place small pieces of paper with prayers inside the cracks of the wall. Some of these people come from across the world. Some come every week. But all come with a deep heart. Muslims also see Jerusalem as one of their most sacred places. It is the third holiest city in Islam after Mecca and Medina. At the center of the city stands the Golden Dome of the Rock and the Al-Aqsa Mosque. From here, Muslims believe the Prophet Muhammad rose to the heavens during his night journey. The mosque is not just a building, it is a symbol of faith, a place of peace, and a part of Muslim identity. Every Friday, thousands of Muslims gather here for prayer. The sound of prayer fills the air, rising above the rooftops of the city. For Christians, Jerusalem is where the story of Jesus reached its most powerful moments. The Church of the Holy Sepulchre is believed to be the place where Jesus was crucified, buried, and rose again. Pilgrims from every country come here. Some walk the path of the Via Dolorosa, carrying crosses and praying at every step. Inside the church, people kneel, light candles, and remember the sacrifice of Jesus. It is a place of deep emotion, a place where silence speaks louder than words. These three holy sites are very close to each other. You can walk from one to another in just minutes, but the people who visit them often do not meet. There is an invisible wall between the communities, a wall made of fear, history, and pain. Sometimes this wall becomes visible with police, fences, and protests. Other times it is quiet, but it is always there. Jerusalem is a small city with a big heart, but its heart is heavy. The same stones that hold history also hold sorrow. Each religion believes this land is sacred. Each one has deep roots here. But sometimes the roots grow in different directions, and they pull the city apart. The struggle is not only about faith. It is also about land, power, and identity. Who owns what? Who can go where? Who can pray when? These questions are not easy. Sometimes they bring anger and conflict. Sometimes they close doors instead of opening them. During holidays, tensions rise, security increases. Roads close. People worry. A city of prayer becomes a city of fear. But this is not the full story. In the middle of all this, there are moments of peace. You can see a Muslim worker repairing the tiles of a Christian church. You can see a Jewish man offering water to a Muslim family on a hot day. You can see a Christian woman lighting a candle and smiling at a Jewish boy nearby. These small actions do not make the headlines, but they show that humanity is still alive here. There are also groups who work together to bring peace between religions. They create spaces for dialogue. They share meals, stories, and hopes. They say this city is big enough for all of us. They believe that faith should unite, not divide. Their work is hard, and progress is slow, but they do not give up, because they know what this city means to the world. For many, religion is not just belief, it is life. It is family. It is everything. That is why people are so passionate about Jerusalem. That is why they feel joy and pain here more deeply than anywhere else. It is not just about history. It is about the present. It is about what kind of future this city will have. Tourists come and feel the magic of this place. They take photos, buy souvenirs, and touch the old stones. But for the people who live here, Jerusalem is not a postcard. It is real life. And real life in Jerusalem is not simple. It is full of emotions. Every prayer carries a story. Every step carries a memory. Sometimes people ask why religion brings so much conflict. But in Jerusalem, you also see how religion brings strength. People survive pain because of their faith. They keep hoping, keep believing, keep walking. Their faith is a light in dark times. It is a reason to stay strong, and it is also a reason to forgive. Imagine the sound of church bells mixing with the call to prayer. Imagine the singing at the Western Wall blending with the soft voices in the Church of the Nativity. It happens here. It is real. It is beautiful. It shows that these religions are not enemies. They are neighbors. They are family from the same old story. Jerusalem teaches us that faith is powerful. It can heal or hurt. It can divide or unite. It depends on the hearts of people. If the people choose peace, then religion can become a bridge. If the people choose hate, then religion can become a wall. The choice is still open. Children grow up in this city hearing many stories. Some are full of fear, some are full of hope. What kind of stories they carry into the future depends on us, on what we teach, what we show, and what we believe. If we teach them to see each other as enemies, the walls will grow taller. If we teach them to see each other as brothers and sisters, the walls may begin to fall. This is the heart of Jerusalem today. 3 religions, 1 city, many voices, 1 home. A city where every stone has been touched by prayer. A city where every person holds a piece of the truth. A city where faith fills the air, but where peace still feels far away. And yet, there is always hope. The hope that one day the people of Jerusalem will not just live next to each other, but with each other. The hope that one day the love of this city will be stronger than the pain of the past. The hope that one day the holy city will also become a peaceful city. This is the Jerusalem of today. A city of faith. A city of fear. A city of dreams. A city of divisions. And a city that still holds the power to unite. Jerusalem is not just a city. It is a symbol, a dream for many, a struggle for others. It is a place that lives in stories, prayers, and politics. For some, it is already a capital. For others, it is still a hope. And in the middle of it all, real people live their lives. They go to school, open their shops, and walk the same streets that leaders talk about on world stages. In 1948, the State of Israel was created. War followed. Jerusalem was divided. West Jerusalem became part of Israel. East Jerusalem, including the Old City, came under Jordanian control. For 19 years, the city lived in 2 parts. Jews could not visit the Western Wall. Christians needed special permission to see their holy sites. Muslims prayed, but also lived with rules and fear. In 1967, after another war, Israel took control of all of Jerusalem. The city was united on the map, but not in the hearts of all who live there. Today, Israel calls Jerusalem its capital. Government buildings stand in the west. The Israeli parliament, the Supreme Court, and official offices are all there. The flag flies high. The anthem plays proudly, but the world does not all agree. Many countries still keep their embassies in Tel Aviv. They say the status of Jerusalem should be decided by peace talks. They say both Israelis and Palestinians have a right to this city. They say it is not only one story, it is two. Palestinians see East Jerusalem as the future capital of their state. They have lived in its neighborhoods for generations. They pray in Al-Aqsa. They walk the narrow streets of the old city. Their memories are deep. Their roots are old. But their rights are often in question. They face home demolitions, loss of residency, and building restrictions. They see more police than peace. They hear promises, but they wait for justice. The conflict is not only about religion, it is also about power. Who controls the land? Who gets to decide the future? Who writes the law? In East Jerusalem, many Palestinians do not have Israeli citizenship. They are permanent residents. This means they can live there, but they do not have the same rights as citizens. They pay taxes, but they cannot vote in national elections. They feel like guests in their own home. On the other side, many Israelis feel that Jerusalem must stay united. They say the city was once divided by war, and it should never be divided again. They see the full city as their ancient and modern capital. They believe giving up part of it would bring more danger, not peace. They speak of security, history, and pride. Their fears are real, their connection is strong, but so is the pain on the other side. In 2017, the United States made a big move. It officially recognized Jerusalem as the capital of Israel and moved its embassy there. This made some people celebrate. It made others angry. Protests broke out. Some saw it as a step forward. Others saw it as a step away from peace. The decision showed how deep the division is. Even one building, one move can shake the whole world. Walk through the streets of Jerusalem, and you will see the tension. In some parts, Israeli flags wave proudly. In others, Palestinian flags are painted on walls in the night. Soldiers stand at corners. Cameras watch every move. Children grow up seeing walls, not bridges. They learn about fear before they learn about peace. Yet they still smile. They still play. They still dream. There are places where the two sides meet. Hospitals where Arab doctors work beside Jewish nurses. Markets where people buy from each other without asking where they come from. Streets where Hebrew and Arabic mix like music. These are the small signs of hope, the places where politics stay outside, and people just live. But even these moments are not always safe. One day it is quiet. The next day it is not. A stone is thrown. A house is destroyed. A prayer is blocked. And the peace breaks like glass. The fear returns. The anger rises. And the walls grow taller. The political battle is also a fight of maps. Some maps show all of Jerusalem as part of Israel. Others show it divided. Some leaders speak of sharing the city. Others say never. Each speech, each vote, each paper has the power to bring change or cause more conflict. And all the while the people wait. Some wait with hope. Some wait with fear. Some are tired of waiting. In schools, children learn different stories. In one school, students learn that Jerusalem is the eternal capital of the Jewish people. In another, they learn it is the occupied capital of Palestine. These young minds carry heavy messages. They are told to remember, to stand strong, to never forget. But who teaches them to listen, to understand, to build a shared tomorrow? The media tells one part of the story. The walls tell another. But the full truth is in the lives of the people. A Jewish father taking his daughter to school. A Palestinian mother cooking dinner for her family. They do not make headlines. But their lives are the real Jerusalem. Jerusalem could be a city of peace. A city that shows the world how to live with difference. How to share. How to respect. But for that to happen, something must change. Not just the laws. Not just the borders. But the hearts. The minds. The way people see each other. Some believe the city must stay whole under one flag. Others believe it must be shared under two. Some believe peace is possible. Others have lost that belief. But everyone agrees on one thing. Jerusalem is not just another city. It matters, deeply, to millions. If peace ever comes, it must pass through Jerusalem. It must begin with truth, respect, and courage. It must listen to the pain of the past and open a door to the future. It will not be easy. It will take time, but it is not impossible. In the middle of all the debate, there is still beauty. The light on the stone walls at sunset. The sounds of children laughing in the streets. The smell of fresh bread from an old bakery. The quiet of early morning prayers. These small moments remind us why this city is loved, why it must be protected, why it must be healed. Jerusalem stands on hills. It stands on history. It also stands on hope. The hope that one day it will not be a city of conflict, but a city of peace. That one day its streets will be free from fear. That one day its people will not argue over who owns it, but walk together as those who belong. This is the Jerusalem of today, a political battleground, a spiritual center, a city of dreams and disappointment, a place where every stone has a story, a place where every person carries a truth, a city waiting for peace, a city that still believes. Walk through Jerusalem, and you walk through time. Every corner, every stone, every wall tells a story. Some stories are thousands of years old. Some are still unfolding. The past is not silent here. It speaks loudly in the streets, in the buildings, in the faces of the people. In Jerusalem, history is not just something to learn. It is something you feel, every moment, everywhere. The Old City is the heart of Jerusalem's history. Surrounded by strong stone walls, it holds within it stories that changed the world. It is small in size but huge in meaning. Inside there are 4 quarters: Jewish, Muslim, Christian, and Armenian. Each one has its own life, its own rhythm, its own soul. People live side by side, sometimes peacefully, sometimes tensely, always closely, and yet each quarter feels like a world of its own. The Jewish quarter holds the Western Wall, the last remaining part of the Second Temple, destroyed nearly 2,000 years ago. This wall is not just a wall, it is a place of prayer, of memory, of tears. Jews from all over the world come here. Some wear suits, some wear sandals, some come to celebrate, others come to mourn, but all come with respect, all come with heart. Just steps away is the Muslim quarter, the largest and most crowded. Its narrow streets are full of life, markets, spices, bread, laughter. At the top of the hill stands the Al-Aqsa Mosque and the Dome of the Rock. The golden dome shines under the sun, a symbol seen in every photo of Jerusalem. Muslims believe this is the place where the Prophet Muhammad ascended to heaven. It is a place of deep faith, deep pride, and deep connection. Then comes the Christian quarter. Pilgrims from across the world walk here. Many carrying crosses, they follow the path of Jesus, known as the Via Dolorosa. This path leads to the Church of the Holy Sepulchre, where Christians believe Jesus was crucified, buried, and rose from the dead. Inside, the air is thick with silence and incense. People kneel, touch the stone, and whisper prayers in many languages. The church belongs to many Christian groups: Greek Orthodox, Armenian, Catholic, and managing it is complex. Yet people come, again and again, because this is where their hearts lead them. The Armenian quarter is smaller and quieter, but no less important. The Armenian people have lived in Jerusalem for centuries. They have their own churches, their own traditions, their own story. They have faced struggles, but they have stayed strong. Their presence adds another layer to this rich, complicated city. Jerusalem is filled with holy sites, but not all are shared peacefully. Many places are under dispute. Who can enter? Who can pray? Who can protect? These questions often lead to conflict. The Temple Mount, or Haram al-Sharif, is one of the most sensitive places in the world. It is holy to both Jews and Muslims. But prayer rights are limited. Tensions are always high. A single event there can light a fire that spreads fast. Beyond the Old City, history still speaks. Mount of Olives, with its ancient Jewish cemetery, watches over the city. Churches mark the spot where Jesus wept. In East Jerusalem, the Palestinian neighborhoods carry stories of loss and resistance. In West Jerusalem, modern Israeli life moves fast. Trams, cafes, schools, tech offices. But even here, history is never far. Memorials, museums, old streets remind people of the past every day. Jerusalem has been destroyed and rebuilt many times. It has been ruled by many empires: the Romans, Byzantines, Persians, Umayyads, Crusaders, Ottomans, British. Each left something behind: a wall, a gate, a road, a name. The streets carry old languages: Hebrew, Arabic, Latin. The stones have seen kings and prophets, wars and prayers, hope and despair. One of the most famous historical sites is the City of David, just outside the old city walls. It is believed to be the original Jerusalem from 3,000 years ago. Archaeologists dig here every day. They find coins, pottery, tunnels. Each discovery adds another piece to the puzzle. But even archaeology is political in this city. People argue over history. Who lived here first? Who built what? Who has the deeper roots? In Jerusalem, even the past is contested. The Holocaust History Museum, Yad Vashem, stands in West Jerusalem. It tells the story of the 6 million Jews killed during World War II. It is not a religious site, but it is deeply emotional. Visitors walk through pictures, names, stories. It reminds the world what hate can do. It reminds Israelis why they value a safe homeland. But it also reminds people why peace is so important. In East Jerusalem, Palestinians visit graves of loved ones lost in past conflicts. They remember old homes, old streets, old trees. Many hold keys to houses they no longer live in. For them, history is not just behind them, it lives inside them. It moves with them every day. They remember the Nakba, the day many Palestinians fled or were forced to leave during the 1948 war. That pain still shapes their lives. Every child in Jerusalem grows up surrounded by history. They learn it in school. They see it on walks. They hear it from parents and grandparents. But what version they learn depends on where they live. In a Jewish school, history begins with Abraham and continues to the founding of Israel. In a Palestinian school, it begins with the land and leads to loss and struggle. The past is not shared, it is divided. Just like the city, still, history has power. It can teach, it can warn, it can inspire. Some people in Jerusalem try to use history to build bridges. They run tours that show all sides. They create museums that tell more than one story. They write books, make films, and share memories that invite others to listen. It is not easy, but it is a beginning. There is beauty in Jerusalem's history. There is pain too. It depends on where you look. Some see glory, some see grief, some see both. A church bell rings and an old man remembers his childhood. A stone path glows in the evening sun, and a woman remembers her grandfather's footsteps. History is everywhere. It does not let go. And yet, the city moves forward. New buildings rise beside ruins. New roads cut through old land. Young people dance where once soldiers stood. Tourists take photos of ancient walls and then buy modern snacks. Life and history mix. Always. Jerusalem's past is powerful. It can pull people apart, but it can also bring them together. If they choose to learn, to respect, to see beyond their own pain, if they choose to honor each other's stories, even when they are hard to hear, this is what Jerusalem teaches us. That the past never truly dies. That history is not just in books. It is in the breath of the city, in the steps we take, in the prayers we whisper. And maybe, just maybe, if we listen carefully, the past can guide us toward a better future. A future where the city's rich history is not a reason for division, but a reason to come together. A future where memory builds understanding, not hate. A future where the stones still speak, but so do the people, kindly, honestly, and with hope. This is the Jerusalem of the past, and the question remains how it will shape the Jerusalem yet to come. The city of Jerusalem is more than just stone walls and holy places. It is full of people, real people, families, shopkeepers, teachers, students, and children. They live in the same city, but their lives are often very different. They speak different languages, follow different customs, and hold different dreams. Some wake up to quiet mornings, others to sounds of soldiers or protests. In Jerusalem, daily life depends on where you live, what you believe, and even what ID you carry in your pocket. In West Jerusalem, life can feel like any modern city. Clean streets, coffee shops, schools, buses, parks. Many Israeli Jews live here. They go to work, send kids to school, and enjoy weekends with family. Children run freely in playgrounds. People shop in malls. Security is always present. But many residents feel safe, proud, and rooted. They see Jerusalem as their eternal capital, the center of Jewish life, the heart of their history and future. In East Jerusalem, the picture is very different. This part of the city is home to more than 350,000 Palestinians. They live in neighborhoods like Silwan, Shuafat, Sheikh Jarrah, and Essaouira. These areas often lack basic services. Poor roads, few parks, crowded schools. Garbage piles up faster than it's cleared. Many homes are built without permits, because permits are nearly impossible for Palestinians to get. And without a permit, a home can be demolished at any time. The fear of losing a home is real. Families have lived for decades in one place, only to receive a notice that their house will be torn down. Children watch their toys taken out, their walls broken down. In some neighborhoods, Jewish settlers have moved into homes once owned by Palestinians. This creates deep tension. It creates conflict not just between governments, but between neighbors. One building can have two families, one Jewish, one Palestinian, both claiming it as their own, and in the middle stands a soldier with a gun. Most Palestinians in East Jerusalem are not Israeli citizens. They are considered permanent residents. This means they can live and work in Jerusalem, but they don't have full rights. They cannot vote in national elections. They risk losing their status if they live outside the city for too long. If they study or work abroad, they may return to find they no longer have the right to live in their own birthplace. Education shows the divide clearly. Jewish children in West Jerusalem go to schools with good funding, new materials, and a strong focus on science and technology. In East Jerusalem, Palestinian schools are often overcrowded. There aren't enough classrooms, and many schools lack books or proper equipment. Some are run by the Palestinian Authority, some by the Israeli government, and others by private groups. The result is a mixed and unequal system. Students learn different histories, different versions of Jerusalem, and grow up in different worlds, all within the same city. Healthcare is another place where the line is visible. Jerusalem has some of the best hospitals in the region. Hadassah Hospital, Shari Zedek, and others provide world-class care. But access to these hospitals can depend on your status, your neighborhood, your papers. Some Palestinians travel to West Jerusalem for treatment, but it can take hours due to checkpoints and security checks. Others go to East Jerusalem clinics, which often struggle with funding and staff shortages. In many ways, Jerusalem is a city of invisible walls, not just the physical barrier that separates it from the West Bank, but social, economic, and emotional walls too. These walls shape how people move, how they feel, how they hope. A Palestinian teen may never speak to a Jewish teen his own age. A Jewish grandmother may live her whole life without visiting East Jerusalem. Fear and mistrust live in the air, passed from one generation to the next. And yet, there are moments of connection. A shared bus ride, a market where both sides shop, a doctor treating a patient without asking about politics, a teacher helping a student learn new words. These moments are rare, but they are real. They are signs of what could be possible if walls of the heart were broken as easily as walls of stone. Religion also plays a powerful role in daily life. Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays, all are holy days, depending on who you ask. The city slows down, then speeds up again. Prayers rise from mosques, churches, and synagogues. At the Western Wall, people press their hands against stone and cry. In Al-Aqsa, thousands kneel in silence. In churches, candles flicker in the dark. These are sacred spaces, and yet even here, politics finds a way to enter. Access is sometimes restricted. Clashes have happened even at the holiest places. Faith brings peace to some, but pain to others. The economy of Jerusalem also reflects its divisions. West Jerusalem thrives with businesses, tourism, and government jobs. East Jerusalem struggles. Unemployment is higher, wages are lower. Many Palestinians work in low-paying jobs, sometimes in the same restaurants or construction sites that serve West Jerusalem. They build the city but are often left out of its growth. Some say it feels like two cities living on top of each other, one rich, one poor. The youth feel this division deeply. They grow up with restrictions, with identity questions, with anger. A Jewish boy may be preparing for army service at 18. A Palestinian boy may be watching soldiers patrol his street every day. One thinks of defense. The other thinks of fear. Both carry the weight of a conflict they did not create. And yet young people also dream. They use phones, play games, listen to music, share videos. Some connect on social media, learn each other's languages, share ideas. A few brave groups bring Jewish and Palestinian kids together through sports, music, or art. It is not easy. Some parents are afraid. Some schools say no. But when it happens, something changes. A smile is shared. A story is heard. A small bridge is built. Daily life in Jerusalem is complex. It is beautiful and broken, ordinary and extraordinary. A wedding may happen on the same day as a protest. A funeral may pass beside a birthday party. Life does not stop, even in a divided city. People laugh, cry, cook, pray, build, and hope. The women of Jerusalem carry a special strength. They raise children in the middle of conflict. They hold families together. They teach culture, language, love. Whether wearing a hijab, a headscarf, or no covering at all, they walk the same streets, ride the same buses, and face the same struggles in different ways, but with equal courage. Jerusalem is full of life. It is loud, busy, and always changing. Cars honk, vendors shout, birds fly above ancient walls. The smell of spices mixes with the sound of prayers. The old lives beside the new. A boy with a smartphone walks past a shepherd with goats. A modern tram rolls past a 1,000-year-old church. Time folds together here, making every day a mix of past, present, and future. But for all its beauty, daily life in Jerusalem is heavy. People carry stories of loss, fear, and dreams that have not come true. They build homes knowing they might be destroyed. They walk past soldiers and remember war. They hear the word peace and wonder what it really means. Still, they wake up each day. Still, they live. They work. They love. They try. And that is the quiet miracle of Jerusalem. Not just its holy sites, not just its politics, but its people, the ones who keep going, who hold on, who make life out of hardship. They are the soul of the city, and maybe one day they will also be the heart of its healing. In Jerusalem, faith lives in the air. You can feel it in the silence of a prayer, in the whisper of a psalm, in the call to worship rising over rooftops. It is a city where people do not just believe, they breathe belief. For thousands of years, Jerusalem has been at the center of the world's great religions. Jews, Muslims, and Christians all look to this city with reverence. For each, it holds deep meaning. For each, it carries a promise, a memory, and a hope. To walk through Jerusalem is to walk through three faiths. Sometimes they cross. Sometimes they clash. But all leave their mark. The heart of the Jewish faith beats at the Western Wall. It is all that remains of the Second Temple, the most sacred place in Judaism. Jews from every corner of the world come here. Some weep, some whisper, some write prayers on paper and slip them into the cracks of ancient stones. The wall has stood for thousands of years. It has seen joy, sorrow, exile, and return. It is not just a wall, it is a symbol of survival. Just above it stands another symbol. This one shining in gold, the Dome of the Rock. Its golden roof glows in the sun. Its design is graceful. Its meaning deep. For Muslims, it marks the place where the Prophet Muhammad ascended to heaven during the night journey. Nearby is the Al-Aqsa Mosque, the third holiest site in Islam. When Muslims pray, they face Mecca, but in the early days of Islam, they faced Jerusalem. The bond runs deep. The Haram al-Sharif, or noble sanctuary, is more than a site. It is sacred ground. And not far away, another group of believers makes its way through narrow streets. Christian pilgrims follow the path of Jesus, the path of suffering. The Via Dolorosa, the way of the cross, leads to the Church of the Holy Sepulchre. Here, they believe Jesus was crucified, buried, and rose again. Inside the church, the air is thick with centuries of prayer. Light pours through stained glass. Candles burn beside ancient icons. The sound of footsteps echoes over stones worn by millions of pilgrims. Three faiths. One city, but not one story. Each religion sees Jerusalem differently. For Jews, it is the site of the ancient temples, the place where heaven and earth meet. For Muslims, it is the place of the Prophet's ascent, a city of prophets and peace. For Christians, it is the place where Jesus died and rose, the center of the Christian story. The same streets hold different truths. The same stones carry different memories. This deep faith is both a gift and a challenge. It inspires love, but also struggle. People do not just protect their holy sites, they defend them fiercely. A prayer can be peaceful, or it can become political. Access to these places is often controlled. Tensions rise quickly. A change in policy, a rumor, even a word can lead to conflict. When religion and politics mix, the result is often explosive. The Temple Mount is one of the most sensitive places in the world. Jews call it the holiest site. Muslims call it the third holiest. But Israeli law does not allow Jewish prayer there to avoid conflict. Still, some groups want change. Every visit, every statement becomes news. Palestinians see these visits as threats. Clashes happen, police step in, tear gas fills the air. The site meant for prayer becomes a battleground. And yet, faith also brings people together. On Fridays, Muslims gather for prayer at Al-Aqsa. On Saturdays, Jews welcome the Sabbath with songs and candles. On Sundays, church bells ring across the old city. Each community prepares for worship in its own way, with its own traditions, its own peace. Religion shapes daily life. It decides when shops open, when people rest, what they eat, how they dress. Religious holidays transform the city. During Ramadan, East Jerusalem comes alive at night. Lanterns light the streets. Families gather after sunset to break the fast. During Passover, Jewish families retell the story of freedom. Matzah replaces bread. Songs fill the homes. At Easter, Christian pilgrims carry crosses through the old city, remembering the final steps of Jesus. While religion adds beauty, it also adds borders. There are religious schools, religious neighborhoods, religious courts. Some areas are strictly for one faith. Others are mixed, but uneasy. Religious identity can decide where you live, whom you marry, what job you get. It can unite, but it can also divide. There are also people in Jerusalem who want something different. Jews, Muslims, and Christians who say faith should not lead to hate. They open dialogue groups. They host interfaith dinners. They walk together, pray together, learn from each other. They are not many, but they are brave. They know the risks. Some are criticized by their own communities, but they keep going, because they believe in a better Jerusalem, one where faith brings peace. Children are often caught in this mix of faith and fear. They grow up hearing stories, some full of hope, others full of hurt. A Jewish child may learn about the temples and the return to the land. A Palestinian Muslim child may learn about exile and resistance. A Christian child may learn about suffering and salvation. These stories shape how they see the city, how they see each other. Tourists come from all over the world to see this sacred city. They walk through churches, mosques, and synagogues. They light candles, take photos, say prayers. For them, Jerusalem is a dream, a destination, a holy place. But for those who live here, it is home. And home is always more complicated than a visit. In some parts of Jerusalem, religious and secular life mix well. In others, they clash. Some Jewish neighborhoods are ultra-Orthodox, with strict rules and traditions. Others are modern, with cafes and music. Some Muslim families follow conservative paths. Others are more relaxed. Some Christians live quietly. Others run schools, hospitals, or community centers. There is no one way to be religious in Jerusalem. There are also growing groups of people who do not follow any religion. They love the city for its history, its culture, its energy, but they feel trapped between faiths. Sometimes they feel invisible. Sometimes they feel free. Jerusalem gives them room, but also reminds them every day of what they are not. Still, in this city of faith, one thing is clear. Belief is strong. It gives people strength, purpose, meaning. It helps them survive hardship. It helps them celebrate joy. It shapes how they see the world. And in Jerusalem, it is impossible to separate faith from life. It is written in the stones, sung in the streets, whispered in the wind. Faith is not just part of Jerusalem. It is the soul of the city. And while that soul is often troubled, it still shines. In the face of a grandmother lighting Sabbath candles, in the hands of a boy offering dates to break the fast, in the voice of a choir singing ancient hymns. In these moments, you see what Jerusalem can be. Not just a city of struggle, but a city of spirit. Not just a place of prayer, but a place of possibility. That possibility lives in every believer who chooses peace over pride. In every prayer said with open hands, not clenched fists. In every act of kindness, no matter how small. In every step toward understanding. That is the power of faith in Jerusalem. A power that has divided, but also a power that can heal. The question is, how will people use that power? To protect only their own, or to open their hearts, to remember only pain, or to build new hope? The answer is still being written, every day, by those who walk, work, worship, and dream in this ancient, sacred, and deeply human city. In Jerusalem, every street has a story, but not every story is told the same way. The way people see the city depends on where they stand, what they believe, and who they are. For Israelis, Palestinians, and the international community, Jerusalem means very different things. These perspectives shape the conflict, shape the peace talks, and shape the daily life of millions. Understanding these different views is not just important, it is necessary to understand the heart of the city's struggle. For most Israelis, Jerusalem is not just a city, it is their capital, their pride, and a symbol of return. They see it as the eternal and undivided capital of the Jewish people. This belief is not only emotional but historical and political. After the Six-Day War in 1967, Israel took control of East Jerusalem and declared the whole city its capital. Since then, Israeli governments have invested heavily in building Jewish neighborhoods, infrastructure, roads, schools, and national institutions in both East and West Jerusalem. From their view, Jerusalem was reunited. They see this unity as a victory, a return to ancient roots, a step towards securing their future. For Jewish people across the world, Jerusalem is also spiritual. It is the place they prayed to return to for over 2,000 years. Every Passover, they say, next year in Jerusalem. Every wedding breaks a glass in memory of the destruction of the temple. The Western Wall is not just a tourist spot, it is a sacred site, a living memory of a lost temple, and a symbol of resilience. From this perspective, giving up any part of Jerusalem feels like giving up a piece of identity. But for Palestinians, the picture is completely different. East Jerusalem is their home, their future capital, and a symbol of their own long struggle. Palestinians see East Jerusalem as occupied territory. They remember the homes lost in 1948, the changes made since 1967, and the restrictions they face today. Many live without full rights, under constant pressure from settlements, demolitions, and arrests. For them, Jerusalem is not united. It is divided by laws, by walls, and by fear. Palestinians dream of East Jerusalem as the capital of a future Palestinian state. That dream is supported by much of the Arab and Muslim world. They see the Israeli presence in East Jerusalem as a violation of international law. They point to UN resolutions, to court cases, to the daily struggles of people on the ground. To them, peace must include East Jerusalem. Without it, there can be no justice. At the same time, many Palestinians feel a strong connection to the holy sites. The Al-Aqsa Mosque, the Dome of the Rock. These are not just religious places, they are national symbols. When access is restricted or challenged, it sparks deep anger. Clashes at these sites often trigger wider protests, not just in Jerusalem but across the West Bank and beyond. For Palestinians, protecting these sites is not just about faith, it's about dignity. Then there is the international perspective. Most countries do not recognize the whole of Jerusalem as Israel's capital. For decades, embassies were placed in Tel Aviv, not Jerusalem. To avoid taking sides, the United Nations and many global leaders call East Jerusalem occupied territory and say its final status must be decided through negotiations. Some support a two-state solution with Jerusalem shared, West as the capital of Israel, East as the capital of Palestine. But in recent years, that balance has shifted. In 2017, the United States officially recognized Jerusalem as Israel's capital and moved its embassy there. Other countries followed, but many still kept their embassies in Tel Aviv. These moves caused strong reactions. Israelis felt recognized and supported. Palestinians felt betrayed and ignored. International peace efforts have tried again and again to solve the issue of Jerusalem. But the gap remains wide. Different groups also see Jerusalem through different emotional lenses. For some, it is a place of hope, a land where peace could begin. For others, it is a place of grief, a reminder of what has been lost. There are those who see it as a spiritual home, and there are those who see it as a political battlefield. Inside Israel, opinions also differ. Not all Israelis agree on how to treat Jerusalem. Some believe in full control, others support compromise. Some want expansion, others want peace more than land. There are voices that support a shared city where both peoples can live with dignity and freedom. These voices are often quiet, but they exist. Among Palestinians, there is also diversity of thought. Some focus on resistance, others on coexistence. Some dream of one shared city for two peoples. Others hold tight to the idea of a future state with East Jerusalem as its clear capital. For all, Jerusalem is a key part of identity, a place of pride and pain. Even religious communities are divided in their views. Some religious leaders call for peace and dialogue. Others speak in the language of exclusivity and power. Some believe Jerusalem belongs to all believers. Others believe it belongs only to one group. These religious narratives feed the political fire, often making compromise harder. And yet there are people trying to change the narrative. Jews and Arabs who work together in schools, hospitals, art projects, and peace initiatives. Tour guides who tell all sides of the story. Organizations that bring children from both sides to learn about each other. Rabbis, imams, and priests who meet in private to pray for a better future. Their work is slow and often unnoticed, but it is real. They believe Jerusalem does not have to be a city of walls. It can be a city of bridges. Still, the ground reality remains tense. Security forces patrol the streets. Cameras watch every corner. Identity cards are checked. Protests can start without warning. A teenager throwing a rock. A settler building a new home. A politician giving a speech. In Jerusalem, even small actions have big echoes. The media also plays a role. Israeli news, Palestinian news, and international news each tell different versions of the same story. Headlines carry emotion. Words like terror, martyr, occupation, defense, all used to shape the story. What one side calls self-defense, the other calls aggression. What one calls heritage, the other calls theft. This battle of words makes understanding harder, not easier. Still, despite everything, people live their lives. Children go to school. Families gather for meals. Markets open, buses run. Life continues, even under tension. And in that daily life you find hope. A Palestinian man and an Israeli woman both buying vegetables from the same vendor. A Jewish child and an Arab child playing in the same park. A silent smile exchanged between strangers. Small things. But in Jerusalem, small things matter. The city remains a symbol, a mirror of the wider conflict. A place where history is heavy and the future is still uncertain, but also a place where dreams still live. Dreams of peace, of justice, of freedom. These dreams may be different, but they are real, and perhaps one day they will meet. Until then, Jerusalem stands, divided, sacred, beautiful, wounded. A city seen through many eyes, felt through many hearts. A place where one truth never tells the whole story, and where understanding begins with listening to another view. Every city has lines, roads, borders, fences. In Jerusalem, some lines are visible. Others are invisible but deeply felt. They separate people, communities, and dreams. Some of these divisions are physical, like walls and checkpoints. Others are social and emotional, shaped by history, fear, and memory. Together, they form the layers of a divided city. A city where people often live side by side, but worlds apart. One of the most obvious signs of division in Jerusalem is the separation barrier. It is a concrete wall that runs for miles, cutting through neighborhoods, valleys, and olive groves. In some places, it is a high gray wall. In others, it is a tall fence. The Israeli government says the wall is for security. It was built during a wave of deadly attacks in the early 2000s. Since then, supporters argue it has helped stop violence and protect lives. But for many Palestinians, the wall is a prison. It cuts them off from schools, jobs, hospitals, family, and holy sites. It often runs deep into Palestinian territory, separating communities from their land. Some people must pass through checkpoints every day just to get to work or school. These checkpoints can be slow, crowded, and stressful. A trip that should take 10 minutes can take hours. Inside Jerusalem, there are also invisible lines. West Jerusalem is mostly Jewish and Israeli. It has clean streets, modern buildings, public parks, and city services. East Jerusalem, where most Palestinians live, often tells a different story. Many neighborhoods suffer from poor infrastructure, overcrowded housing, and lack of government support. Roads have potholes. Trash is sometimes left uncollected. Schools are underfunded. The feeling is clear: not everyone is treated the same. Some streets in East Jerusalem have no sidewalks or streetlights. Some homes were built without permits because permits are nearly impossible for Palestinians to get. Then those homes are called illegal and are destroyed. Families lose everything. A house, a history, gone in a few hours. It happens again and again, and it sends a message: you are not fully welcome here. These divisions also show up in education. Jewish children and Palestinian children go to different schools. They learn different histories, speak different languages, and grow up with different stories. Jewish schools teach Hebrew, Jewish traditions, and Israeli history. Palestinian schools teach Arabic, Islamic culture, and Palestinian heritage. What one child learns as a celebration, the other may learn as a tragedy. There are separate systems, separate dreams, separate truths. Even public transportation is divided. Buses and roads are often designed for one community and not the other. In some cases, people avoid entire neighborhoods because they fear for their safety. A wrong turn can lead to trouble. A misunderstanding can lead to violence. Fear becomes part of daily life. Despite all this, life in Jerusalem continues. Markets open early. The call to prayer echoes through the morning air. Children run to school. Workers catch buses. The city breathes, eats, works, and rests. But under the surface, the tension remains. It is always there, waiting, watching, ready to rise. In some areas, the mix of communities adds beauty. In the Old City, for example, Jews, Muslims, and Christians all live in quarters close to one another. There you can hear church bells and the call to prayer within minutes. You can smell spices from Arab markets and fresh bread from Jewish bakeries. You can find tourists taking selfies and monks walking in silence. But even in the Old City, the divisions are real. Armed police patrol the streets. Surveillance cameras hang from buildings. A peaceful day can turn tense in moments. There are also Jewish settlements built inside Palestinian neighborhoods. These are heavily guarded and often lead to anger. For Palestinians, they are a sign of loss. For settlers, they are a return to land they believe is theirs by right. These settlements change the face of East Jerusalem. They bring more police, more cameras, more tension. Sometimes they bring violence. But not all lines are physical. Some are in the mind. Many Israelis and Palestinians grow up never meeting each other. They hear stories about the other side, but they do not hear from them. Fear and mistrust grow. Stereotypes form. Walls of the heart grow taller than the concrete ones. Even the media plays a part. Israeli news and Palestinian news often show very different versions of the same event. One calls it a protest, the other a riot. One says it was self-defense, the other says it was murder. These narratives feed fear, not understanding. Yet, in the cracks of division, there are people planting seeds of peace. Some schools teach both Hebrew and Arabic. Some programs bring Israeli and Palestinian kids together to play sports, make art, or learn music. Some activists work across communities, helping families, building understanding, and telling the full story. They face many challenges. Sometimes they are called traitors. Sometimes they are threatened, but they keep going, believing that a different Jerusalem is possible. There are also joint efforts in business. Some cafes, shops, and tech startups employ both Jews and Arabs. They prove that working together can benefit everyone. There are shared concerns, traffic, rent, the cost of living that cross all boundaries, and in moments of personal crisis, a child's illness, a fire, a flood, neighbors sometimes forget politics and just help. But these moments are not yet the rule. They are exceptions. Most of the time, people stay on their own side of the line. It is safer. It is easier. But it is also sad, because Jerusalem, a city that is holy to so many, still struggles to be whole. These divisions affect everyone. They create fear and anger. They stop children from dreaming. They prevent people from moving freely. They deepen the conflict. And they make peace harder to imagine. Yet there is hope. Hope in those who cross the lines. Hope in those who listen instead of shout. Hope in those who see a person, not just a problem. Jerusalem's future depends on these people. On those who believe that a city divided can still be healed, that walls can fall, that stories can change. It will not be easy. The pain is old, the anger is deep, the politics are complex. But if change is to come, it must begin with people, with how they see each other, with how they treat each other, with how they teach their children. In the end, the story of Jerusalem is not just about borders and buildings. It is about people, their fears, their hopes, their daily lives. And until the people of Jerusalem can live without fear, without walls, and with equal rights and dignity, the city will remain divided. But it does not have to stay that way. A different Jerusalem is possible. One where lines are not fences but bridges. One where difference does not mean danger. One where everyone belongs. That Jerusalem is not yet here, but it is worth dreaming of. It is worth working for. And it begins with seeing the lines and choosing to cross them. Jerusalem's future is a question that weighs heavily on the minds of those who call the city home. as well as those who have long watched the struggles of its people. For years, the international community has tried to find a path to peace, but the vision of a shared, united city remains elusive. Jerusalem's future in many ways is bound up with the hopes and fears of its inhabitants, Jews, Arabs, Christians, and others who have long lived alongside each other. But despite the tensions, the violence, and the challenges, there is still a possibility for change, if only people are willing to imagine a future that does not repeat the mistakes of the past. At the core of the debate over Jerusalem's future lies a deeply emotional issue: control. Both Israelis and Palestinians see the city as their own. For many Jews, Jerusalem is the heart of their religious and national identity. It is the place where their history began, where their ancestors prayed, and where the ancient temple once stood. For Palestinians, Jerusalem is equally significant. It is the center of their religious, cultural, and political aspirations. They see it as the capital of a future Palestinian state, a symbol of their struggle for freedom and independence. Over the years, numerous peace efforts have tried to address the issue of Jerusalem, but each one has failed. The most significant attempt was the Oslo Accords, which were signed in the 1990s with the aim of creating a framework for peace between Israel and the Palestinians. While the accords did address issues such as borders, refugees, and security, they did not solve the problem of Jerusalem. The city remains divided, with Israel in control of the western part and the Palestinians seeking sovereignty over the eastern part, which includes the Old City and key religious sites. One of the challenges to finding a solution is the deep attachment people have to Jerusalem. For many Israelis, giving up any part of the city feels like a betrayal of their history and identity. Jerusalem is not just a city to them, it is a symbol of their right to self-determination, of their return to the land after centuries of exile. For Palestinians, the city represents their struggle for dignity and freedom. They have lived in Jerusalem for generations, and they feel a deep connection to its streets, its neighborhoods, and its sacred places. This emotional connection is at the heart of the conflict over Jerusalem. Both sides view the city through a lens of history and identity, making compromise difficult. But the city is not only about the past, it is also about the future. How can Jerusalem's diverse communities live together in peace? How can its many inhabitants, with their different identities and beliefs, find common ground? There are some who argue that the best solution is to divide the city, with Israel controlling the western part and the Palestinians controlling the eastern part. This idea has been proposed in numerous peace plans, including the United Nations Partition Plan of 1947. However, the reality of division is much more complicated than it seems. First, there are the practical difficulties of dividing a city that has been united for over 50 years. The division of Jerusalem would likely require the displacement of many people, which would lead to further resentment and anger. Second, the city's religious significance complicates matters. Jerusalem is home to some of the holiest sites in Judaism, Islam, and Christianity. The Western Wall, the Dome of the Rock, and the Church of the Holy Sepulchre all occupy the same small area in the Old City. These sites are not just symbols of faith, they are sources of power and pride for their respective communities. The idea of dividing control of these sites is not only politically difficult, it is also spiritually and emotionally charged. How can you divide a place that is sacred to so many? There are also those who argue that Jerusalem should be shared, a city that belongs to all its inhabitants, regardless of their ethnicity or religion. This idea, known as a shared city model, has been proposed by some peace activists and academics. The vision is of a Jerusalem where Jews, Muslims, and Christians live together in peace, each community having access to its holy sites and freedom to worship. In this vision, the city would be a place of tolerance, cooperation, and dialogue, where people learn from one another and work together for a common future. This vision, while idealistic, is not impossible. There are already instances of cooperation between Israelis and Palestinians in Jerusalem. Some organizations bring Jewish and Palestinian children together to play, learn, and grow. These programs offer a glimpse of what could be a city where the walls between communities are broken down, where people see one another as human beings rather than as enemies. There are also shared spaces, parks, cafes, and schools where Jews, Muslims, and Christians live side by side. These spaces are small, but they offer hope that peaceful coexistence is possible. But these small victories do not change the larger reality. The city is still divided and the tensions are still high. The political and religious divisions seem insurmountable. How can a city that has seen so much violence, so much pain, and so much division find a way to come together? Is it possible to imagine a Jerusalem that is not just divided but united in peace? One of the key challenges to peace in Jerusalem is the role of external actors. The international community, including the United States and the United Nations, has long been involved in the peace process. However, their efforts have often been seen as biased or ineffective. The United States, in particular, has faced criticism for its close ties with Israel, which some believe have undermined its ability to act as an impartial mediator. This has created distrust on both sides. Palestinians feel abandoned, and Israelis feel isolated. But even within Israel and Palestine, there is a growing recognition that the status quo cannot continue. In Israel, there are voices calling for a more inclusive approach to Jerusalem, one that recognizes the rights of Palestinians while also respecting the city's Jewish heritage. In Palestine, there are calls for greater recognition of Israel's legitimate claims, though many Palestinians still reject the idea of a divided Jerusalem. In both communities, there is a growing desire for peace, even if the path to that peace is unclear. The future of Jerusalem will depend on the willingness of its people to find common ground. It will require leaders to make difficult compromises, to recognize the legitimate aspirations of both Israelis and Palestinians, and to find a way to respect the city's religious significance while building a future that includes everyone. It will also require a shift in attitudes from fear and mistrust to understanding and respect. At the heart of this process is the need for dialogue. Dialogue between Israelis and Palestinians. Dialogue between Jews, Muslims, and Christians. Dialogue that recognizes the pain of the past but also looks forward to a better future. Dialogue that does not seek to erase the other side's history or identity, but seeks to build a new shared story. One in which all people are able to live with dignity, equality, and peace. It is not an easy path, and it will take time. But Jerusalem's future is not set in stone. The city is a place of paradoxes, a place where the dreams of many collide, but it is also a place of hope, where the possibility of peace is always just within reach. If people are willing to take the first step toward understanding, if they can see each other as human beings, not as enemies, if they can build a future where Jerusalem belongs to everyone, not just to one group. The story of Jerusalem is not just about the present, or even the past, it's about the future, and how that future will be shaped by the choices made today. Despite the deep divisions that run through this city, there is always the possibility of hope, the possibility that one day Jerusalem could become a place where peace and unity can flourish, even amidst its complexities. It's not an easy journey, and it's one filled with obstacles, but it is a journey that has the potential to transform this city and in doing so transform the lives of its people. For many, Jerusalem symbolizes so much more than just a city. It's a city of the heart, a city tied to religious faith, history, and identity. For Jews, it is the spiritual heart of their history and the city where their ancestors longed to return. For Palestinians, it is the city of their dreams, the place they envision as the capital of their future state. And for Christians, it is the city where Jesus walked, and where the path of faith intersects with their deepest beliefs. These layers of meaning and attachment make any conversation about Jerusalem deeply emotional, often charged with tension. But while these emotions are understandable, they can also create roadblocks to a peaceful future. When emotions outweigh reason, and when history becomes a weapon in the hands of those seeking to protect their narrative, it becomes difficult to move forward. Yet the alternative is even worse: to remain locked in a cycle of conflict, unable to break free from the chains of the past. Jerusalem is a city full of stories. Some are stories of pain, loss, and suffering, while others are stories of hope, resilience, and cooperation. Every day, in its crowded markets, its sacred sites, and its quiet streets, people make choices that either feed the divisions or help to heal them. It's easy to focus on the divisions, to see only the walls, both physical and psychological, that separate people. But if we look closely, we can see moments of unity, however fleeting they may be. These moments are seeds waiting to take root and grow. One of the most inspiring aspects of Jerusalem's future is the people who refuse to give up hope, even in the face of seemingly insurmountable odds. There are individuals on both sides of the divide who are working to bridge the gaps, people who, despite the challenges, continue to believe that peace is possible. They are not always the loudest voices. They don't always grab headlines, but they are there, quietly working, day by day, to bring about change. In schools, teachers are working to instill the values of tolerance, respect, and understanding in the next generation. Jewish and Palestinian children, once kept apart, are now learning together in classrooms where they share ideas, experiences, and hopes. It's not easy, and the road is often fraught with difficulty. But it's a start. These children, growing up side by side, can become the leaders of tomorrow who understand that coexistence is possible, even necessary. In the realm of business, there are also people working together, crossing boundaries that were once thought to be impassable. Jewish and Palestinian entrepreneurs are partnering to create jobs, foster innovation, and build a shared future. These collaborations, though small, have the potential to change the economic landscape of the city and provide a foundation for peace. Business may seem like a mundane pursuit in the midst of a conflict, but in Jerusalem, it can be a powerful tool for bringing people together. At the grassroots level, there are also efforts to foster dialogue between communities. Organizations that bring Israelis and Palestinians together, whether for joint activities or simple conversations, are creating spaces where empathy can be nurtured. These conversations can be difficult, filled with pain, anger, and fear, but they are also necessary. Without honest dialogue, there is no path forward. Through these interactions, individuals come to understand the humanity of the other side, something that is often lost in the rhetoric of conflict. However, these efforts are not enough on their own. While grassroots initiatives are important, there must also be a commitment at the political level to create lasting change. Unfortunately, the political situation in Jerusalem is deeply entrenched, and finding common ground is a difficult, sometimes impossible task. But even within the political sphere, there are voices of reason. Those who call for an end to the cycle of violence, who advocate for a shared city, and who work tirelessly for a future where Jerusalem can belong to all its inhabitants. The international community also has a role to play in shaping Jerusalem's future. The United Nations, the European Union, and other international actors can help create an environment in which peace is possible, but their involvement must be balanced, fair, and respectful of the legitimate aspirations of both Israelis and Palestinians. The international community cannot force a solution, but it can provide support for those who are working for peace. Despite the divisions, there are signs that the people of Jerusalem, those who live here every day, are ready for change. Many long for a life where they are not defined by their religious or national identity, but by their shared humanity. They dream of a city where their children can walk down the same streets without fear, where they can meet their neighbors without suspicion, where they can share in the beauty and history of Jerusalem without feeling like outsiders in their own city. For those who have lived through years of conflict, the idea of peace can seem distant, even unattainable. But change is often slow and incremental. It starts with small steps, a conversation, a partnership, an act of kindness. It starts with people deciding that they will no longer be prisoners of the past, and that they are willing to build a new future, one step at a time. There will be setbacks. There will be moments of frustration and failure, but there will also be moments of triumph. There will be moments when people from different backgrounds come together to celebrate their shared humanity. There will be moments when the walls that divide them begin to crumble, when the fears that separate them begin to fade away. Jerusalem's future is not written in stone. It is still being shaped by the choices made by the people who live here, and by the choices made by those who care about the city's future. While it is true that Jerusalem has been a city of divisions, it is also true that it can be a city of unity. It can be a city where people of all faiths, cultures, and backgrounds can come together to create something better than what exists today. The path to peace will not be easy. It will require courage, compromise, and a willingness to change. But it is a path worth walking. Because if Jerusalem can find a way to heal its divisions and build a future where all people are free to live with dignity, respect, and love, then the world will have a shining example of how even the most divided places can be transformed by the power of hope and human connection. Jerusalem's future is not predetermined. It is up to the people who live here, and to the world that watches, to make that future a reality. Together we can write the next chapter in the city's long and complicated story, and it can be a chapter of peace, of unity, and of a future where Jerusalem truly belongs to everyone.